ارتبتم لا نشتري به ثمنا ولو كان ذا قربى ولا نكتم شهادة الله إنا إذا لمن الآثمين فإن عثر على أنهما استحقا إثما فآخران يقومان مقامهما من الذين استحق عليهم الأوليان فيقسمان بالله لشهادتنا أحق من شهادتهما وما اعتدينا إنا إذا لمن الظالمين ذلك أدنى أن يأتوا بالشهادة على وجهها أو يخافوا أن ترد أيمان بعد أيمانهم واتقوا الله واسمعوا والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين صدق الله العظيم. Verse 105 of Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran al-Kareem, gives us one principle, and that is the principle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes each individual to task for what he does, what she does. Why so and so ended up doing something? Why did he not believe? Why did he do these actions? Each person will go to his own qabr, to his own grave, and each person will stand alone at the Day of Judgment. This is the reality. This is Allah Ta'ala's principle in this world. وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No one will carry anyone else's burden. I will carry my burden, you will carry your burden, our parents, grandfathers, the Anbiya, everyone will carry their own burden. Now, this doesn't mean to say, or the misconception over here is, that a person thinks, how do you define what is my burden? How do you define what is my burden? So, tarbiyah and nurturing my children, is that my burden or not? Is that my responsibility or not? It is. So this ayah and the ayat of this nature, so Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, a very famous hadith of his, is that he addressed the people, the Sahaba anhum, and he told them that you recite this ayah of the Quran al-Kareem and you misunderstand it. And some of you misunderstand it and displace this ayah. And he says that I heard Rasulullah many a time saying that if people do not stop one another from doing wrong and they do not enjoin good, amr bil ma'ruf nahy anil munkar, then people will be taken to task for this. Countless ayat of the Quran al-Kareem, countless ahadith of Rasulullah, the Sunnah, has established that da'wah, propagating, enjoining good, prohibiting evil, preventing people from wrong things, these are all part of individual responsibilities and communal responsibilities. Da'wah at a communal level, da'wah at an individual level. Amr bil ma'ruf at a communal level, at an individual level. So this ayah or the ayat of this nature, la taziru wazira, for example, wazira ukhra. This doesn't mean to say that I just come, pray my salah, go home, sleep, come back, that's all I have to do. No. What the ayah is saying is that once you have fulfilled your responsibilities of your personal a'mal, your own actions, my own 5 times salah, my own hajj, etc., etc., with that I have fulfilled an amount of other responsibilities which are upon others. For example, taking care of my family, tarbiyah and nurturing of my children. If I see wrong, then to my whatever is in my capacity, I stop that wrong. When I enjoin good towards others, once all of these a'mal, which are also my a'mal, no one else's, that's part of my responsibility. Once that is done, and then someone may or may not accept what you're saying, they may or may not like what you're saying, they may or may not practice upon what you have preached and told them, then you're not responsible for that. Just like the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. The Nabi of Allah Ta'ala and all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, they would come, give the da'wah they needed to give, enjoin the good, relay the code of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the law of Allah Ta'ala which is to be accepted. After that, some accepted, some did not accept. Those that accepted, they were successful. Those that did not, they were not successful. And the Nabi will not be taken to task for that. So, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum, that what is upon you, yani what's obligatory upon you, is safeguarding yourselves. La yadurrukum man dalla idha ihtadaytum. If someone is to go misguided, that will not harm you as long as you are guided. But part of your guidance is what? Fulfilling all of your obligations, personal and communal obligations. Part of ihtida and being guided is what? Personal a'mal and personal obligations plus communal obligations. إِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِعُكُمْ جَمِيعًا. All of you will turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we return to Allah ta'ala. فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. At that point, there you will be informed of what you have done. And someone may ask that, well, a person should know what he did. Why do we need to be informed over there? Meaning, what will we be informed about? Which of this was acceptable, which was not acceptable? Which one had ikhlas, which one did not have ikhlas? Now others we could have fooled, we could fool yourself as well. A person can fool himself. You keep on saying one thing, at a certain point a person thinks to himself that, yeah, maybe I am very good, that I'm doing everything with ikhlas. So you can even fool yourself. But the one individual, the one who we cannot fool is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore Allah ta'ala will inform at the Day of Judgment. يُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. You did the amal, but Allah will inform you. And what of this was acceptable? Which of this was fulfills his criteria? فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. The next 3 ayat are regarding a certain issue that there was an incident. I won't read the translation of all of these. These have to do with ahkam, but the khulasa and the summary of it is that Budayl, a man by the name of Budayl, he was a Sahabi, he had accepted Islam. This was at the time, this was early on in Mecca. He went on a business trip to Syria, to Sham, to Levant, that area, and with him were 2 individuals. One Tamim, Tamim Dari, or some say Tamim, some other Tamim, some say Tamim Dari, but whoever it may be, whichever person, and one other person by the name of Adi. These 2 had gone, and they were Christians. They were Christians, and they had not accepted Islam. And one Budayl, he had accepted Islam. They went on a business trip. During this business trip, Budayl became very sick. So he wrote on a parchment, on a letter, or on a page or something, he wrote all of his possessions that he had on this business trip, whatever he had with him. He wrote it and he put it inside one of his sacks or something of that nature. And he told his 2 companions that, look, if I'm very sick, if I pass away, then make sure all of my belongings, you give it to my family and you fulfill this amana and trust of mine. They accepted that we'll do so. So what happened is that he passed away in this business trip. Now, these 2 companions of his brought all of his belongings back to Mecca, and they gave it to his family. And they told him that this is what happened. He was very sick, he passed away, and these are all his belongings. So when his family looked through his belongings, then this parchment came out as well. So in that parchment, the one thing they had taken was a silver goblet. There was a silver goblet, which may have been very expensive or very precious, but they had taken that. The rest of the stuff, they fulfilled it. So the family asked these 2 companions that, are you sure he didn't, there's maybe something, he maybe sold it and it's not over here. Maybe he got very sick, so for his medication he had to sell it or something of that nature happened. Is there anything missing? So he said, nothing's missing. So they said, okay, that's fine. They went to Rasulullah and said that this is what happened. We find that there's one item missing, and his companions are saying this. So in such an instance, what can they do? They have no proof per se. I mean, this letter, this is not a proof, sufficient proof, because you need to have witnesses. Was there any witness to him writing it? Was there anything of that nature? So Rasulullah made these 2 companions take an oath that what you're saying is the truth and you haven't hidden anything. They took that oath and they went on. After some time, this goblet was found being circulated in Mecca. They had sold it. Some time passed. Then they said, time's enough, now let's sell this to make the money off of it. So the family came to know of this, that here's the goblet that was sold. So again, these 2 were called. They said that, yeah, we didn't want to lie about the issue, but because you wouldn't have believed in us, that he sold it to us, etc., etc. This is what had happened. He had sold it to us, but because we didn't think that you would accept what we're saying, therefore we resorted to lying. So now the argument has changed. The court case changes now. Why? Because now they are accepting the rule in Sharia courts is al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i wal-yaminu ala man ankar. That whoever is the claimant, whoever is the one that makes a claim, he must provide witnesses, shahada, meaning bayyina, meaning 2 witnesses. Obviously the witnesses must be upright, etc., etc. That has its own criteria. And the one who rejects, he only needs to suffice upon taking an oath. So now the claimant became who? The two companions. That they're claiming that he sold it to us. And once the goblet came out, that means it's established that this was there. So now their claim is to what? That he did sell it to us, for which they had no witnesses. So now the trial, so to say, the court case flipped. And now the family members, the two of the family members, they would have to take an oath to say that we take an oath that this property belonged to our family member and that he had not sold it or anything of that nature. Once they took that oath, so then it was returned to them, because that means they were the rightful heirs of it. So in these next 3 ayat, from 106 to 108, the commands regarding such situations have been outlined. We make dua that Allah Ta'ala gives us understanding of the Quran Kareem.